I'm Jeff Standley with Standley Handcrafted, and today we're going to be talking about the end of the year and things that you need to think about as the year comes to a close. And again, I'm excited to be in the new studio. Still getting through setting this thing up. I've got a lot of things to go through. I've got a few more of these panels to put up. I've got a few more of these sound panels to put up. I've got more of them coming in. I haven't been able to get any supplies for this stuff because we've been snowed in for literally the past 5 or 6 days. So I've been stuck in the house, which is a good thing on one point because I've had time to actually go through and do this kind of stuff. So trying to get back into these things, get this room set up, and get these microphones set up so that we can actually have some decent sound along with decent video. All right, today's topic is one of those things that if you're like me, you put it off until the end of the year. Some of this stuff I try to take care of through the year, like getting invoices, setting them aside, scanning them up into QuickBooks or whatever you're using. But there are a lot of them that just I forget about through the year, and I end up doing it last minute or at the end of the year. Now that kind of the end of the year, the new year is coming around, and basically tax time is going to be coming up quick, depending on how you file your taxes, quarterly or at the end of the year, depending on the business that you have set up. So I wanted to go through and talk about a few of the things that I go through and make sure to do. And if you're new to the candle business or if you've been in for a while, these are some things that you should be thinking about if you're not already. Now, of course, number one on the list, and something that I try to do towards the end of the year, is if there is any money left over that you want to put towards supplies or equipment, in my case, microphone or cameras or a laptop, anything that I'm going to need in the new year or something that I need for the business. This is one of those things that I try to get if I can towards the end of the year, because any money that you spend towards equipment, supplies, or anything like that is money that you can use as basically a tax write-off once taxes come around. Now, that doesn't mean to go out and rush out and buy everything you can, because that's just not feasible. Also, now of course that doesn't mean just to go out and buy everything that you can so that you have no taxes to deal with. But if you do have equipment that you've been kind of holding off, today, I mean, if I get this uploaded December 31st, today is basically the last day that you can go through and get some of that stuff, and it still applies to this year's taxes, which is something that I've definitely done in the last day or two. And people on the candle website, the West Sound Candle Supply, somebody actually, I just sent an invoice over maybe 20 minutes ago to somebody who was literally doing this. They're buying some last minute melters, some oils and everything like that they're gonna need for the new year, and they're doing it specifically because it goes against this year's taxes. They can use it as a tax write-off because it's the melters, oils, or anything like that is supplies. It's going to be equipment that you're using for the business. So if you are seeing this video early enough, you should definitely go out there and get those last minute things that you've been holding off on, or if there's something out there that you do need to get, today's a great time to do that. The other thing that I try to go through now, and I'm going to be doing this for probably the next couple weeks, is going through and basically getting every single invoice that I can think of that I may have missed through the year. Now, with a program like QuickBooks, which is what I use to do all my bookkeeping, everything like that, you can scan all of your invoices up into QuickBooks. So I try to do that as much as possible. If you're going through a company ordering supplies from somebody like Candle Science, pretty much everybody does it, but Candle Science has a really good system. They have all your invoices as a PDF that you can download from their website. So I try to go through and I'll get everything for 2021 downloaded and put into a specific folder, or basically set aside so that when my person does the taxes, they have all that stuff and it's easy to go through and do. And this is definitely where I get lost in kind of my planning throughout the year, is because I go through and I try a bunch of different oils and jars, wicks, everything like that, and I'll use like Candle Science all throughout the year, Nature's Garden all throughout the year, things like that. But there are certain vendors that I will only use once throughout the year. And if I was just doing it, I've done it before. I'll go through, buy supplies like on the way home or something like that. And I'll think about it and just tell myself, okay, I'll just make sure to download the PDF when I get home. And of course I forget. So this of course is my time to go through and try to remember and get every single one of those, because of course every single invoice counts when it comes to taxes. You definitely don't want to be paying taxes on something that you shouldn't be. And what I mean by that is if you spent $1,000 at a specific vendor, that's $1,000 that you don't have to pay taxes on, and it will definitely make a big difference depending on where you are in your business. Now, I will say, having said all that with in regards to taxes, write-offs, or anything like that, definitely reach out to somebody who is qualified to give you this kind of advice, legal and professional advice, whereas I'm just going through telling you what I'm doing, and I reach out to somebody to ask about this stuff as well. I don't know anything when it comes to doing my own taxes. I reach out to other people who are qualified in this area, much smarter than me in this area, and I ask them, what can I do to avoid getting hit with unnecessary taxes? So definitely reach out. So definitely reach out to CPA, anybody like that, somebody who does this stuff professionally so that they can tell you exactly what you should be looking for. The other thing I try to do towards the end of the year is I'll go through and I'll get an itemized list of everything that I ordered, from melters to waxes to wicks, oils, anything like that. I'll go through, try to run inventory, see exactly what I have, and then go through and see what I ran out of at basically different times through the year. Now, it's at the end of the year now, so you should know exactly what you're running out of, because all through November and December, and if you're a member on the DIY Facebook group, people have been running out of stuff left and right for the past several months, past several weeks, if not several months, depending on what you're ordering. So this is a great time to go through and write down. I usually grab my phone, pull up notes in the phone, and I'll go through and write down everything that I've got, everything that I need, and stuff that was hard to get a hold of towards the end of the year. So I always try to make a post in a video, try to let everybody know, hey, it's coming up around like September. Make sure you go and get your oils that you need, stuff that you do not want to run out of. And it's always good to get a note of something like that, because as the new year runs around, you can go through and see what you ran out of. And as the year comes to a close again, towards the end of the year, August, September, you can go through and make sure that you've got those things on hand. So that's exactly what I'll be doing for probably the next week or so, is going through, seeing what jars sold best for me, the wicks that I needed the most, and I'll go through and I'll make sure that I have all that stuff on hand basically throughout the year so that I don't have to think about that kind of stuff. The other thing I like to do towards the end of the year is go through and look at what I kind of set out. And for this, I can go back through and look at last year's video and talk and look at the things that I talked about doing or wanted to do throughout the year. And I'll go through, I'm a big person in writing down like goals and things that I want to hit, kind of like New Year's resolutions, but I stopped calling it New Year's resolutions, especially when it came time to the business. I just knew stuff that I wanted to kind of conquer with my business, the candle game, anything like that, the YouTube videos, and I'll go through and kind of see what I hit and what I missed, and then basically make a new plan of action for the new year. Now with this year, it was kind of all over the place. So the last 2 years have been crazy, with 2020 obviously being an absolute shit show. 2021 was definitely a little bit better, but we started to see a lot of shipping issues, delays, customs, overseas shipping, US shipping, everything like that. I just turned into a mess towards the end of the year. So it definitely threw a monkey wrench in what I had planned for 2021. It still turned out to be a great year. And there were a lot of things that kind of came about in 2021 that I definitely didn't expect. I knew at some point that I would launch my own candle supply website, but I really didn't have a date on that one. And then all of a sudden, right around like May and June, I started to get a couple things to where it was like, okay, it's now or never. So that was something that I definitely didn't plan at that time, but it came out of nowhere and I just went with it. Now it's taken off and it's doing really well. A lot of stumbling blocks and kind of hurdles that we had to get through. Definitely tripped a few times and we're still getting over that kind of stuff. But as 2022 comes around, that's absolutely gonna be my main focus, is getting that up to the point where it's running solid, try to fine tune and basically get it to a well-oiled machine, which includes things like getting stuff in on a regular basis, getting stuff out on a regular basis, shipping again. And then of course, I'll go through and I'll make another video talking about what those goals are and kind of what I'm focusing on. And it's gonna be things, like I just said, with the candle website, the oils coming in, the oils coming out, waxes, wicks, melters, the new vessels that are coming. And of course, when it comes to the YouTube channel, there's a lot that I wanted to do this year that I did okay on, and then once the supply business hit, like all of that went out the window. And you guys know that if you watch the channel on a regular basis, the videos just weren't as regular as they used to be. And that was just because things got so crazy with stuff coming in, the shop just being overloaded with stuff, and getting the new shop up and running, just basically had no time. So that's one thing I'm gonna correct in this new year, is basically get that stuff up and going on a regular basis again. But that's pretty much it with this one. I just wanted to get in here real quick towards the end of the year. I just put out one last video at the end of the year, and just some quick thoughts on some things that I tend to think about at the end of the year, and just kind of let people know. Now, there are 100 other things that I could be thinking about and should be doing, but that would be a much longer video. So if you have anything that you do at the end of the year, please let us know in the comment section down below so that other people can see that, other things that you look out for as a business owner. And of course, if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up, hit subscribe, hit the bell notification if you want to know when these videos launch. And of course, Happy New Year to everyone. Good luck in the new year, and we'll see you in the next video.